Do you want to show a clip or two?
Sure.
Yay. You need it. What do you need?
Yeah, oh yeah, both.
This thing.
Yeah. And this. So these are, none of these are things that we've made. They're, journalists have made them. Oh, yeah. So these were actions that'll be in our film that were covered in, this one was covered by Rachel Maddow. I'll show maybe 2 or 3 of them. This was in 2009 in the lead up to the Copenhagen climate talks. We did a series of actions, and this was one of them. We had paired up with a group of activists at the Avaz Action Factory in DC who were trying to do climate actions around the Chamber of Commerce to highlight the Chamber of Commerce, which is the world's largest lobbying organization. And their clients are all big businesses. Their main clients are petroleum companies, and they were fighting this climate legislation that was making its way through the US Congress at the time, the Waxman-Markey bill. They were publicly against it. And this is the story of the action that we did with these activists around this. Let's see.
Commerce.
Today, the country's largest business lobby, the Chamber of Commerce, got punked. It began early this morning when a press release went out, purportedly from the United States Chamber of Commerce, that said that the Chamber was taking a very dramatic step. They would be switching positions on climate change legislation. Amazingly, the release said that the Chamber would now support this legislation that it spent months fighting against. Reporters were surprised and probably confused at this odd turn of events, but that was nothing compared to what actually happened at the press conference when it was held later on this morning. Watch this tape.
Clean coal is a technology that has not only not been proven, it basically doesn't exist.
Okay, this is, I'm Eric Wolfschlegel. I'm with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. This is not an official U.S. Chamber of Commerce event. So I don't know what pretenses you're here. I know some of you in the press world, but this is a fraudulent press activity and a stunt.
Who are you really, sir?
And do you have a business card? Are you with the U.S. Chamber?
I do. We can discuss afterwards.
Okay. Can I see your business card?
Can I see yours? If you would like to have a press conference, you can have your own press conference, sir.
What is your position?
But you can't come in here and barge in and interrupt our press conference.
What is your position? What is your position at the Chamber of Commerce?
I just spoke my position.
What is your title and your official title at the U.S. Chamber?
I'm the assistant to Mr. Donahue.
Okay. This guy is a fraud. He's lying. This is, a stunt that I've never seen before. So if you'd like to actually talk to the legitimate Chamber of Commerce, I've got my business cards outside. This gentleman, I will assure you, does not have any business cards, and he's not legitimate. This sign-in sheet here.
I'm sorry, excuse me, sir. We rented this room.
Yes.
You're going to have to refund us.
Fraudulently.
Et cetera, et cetera. So that's just Rachel Maddow's edit. What? Yeah, I'm a real Chamber of Commerce guy. Yeah. I have business cards today. I also have brochures for this action switchboard. So afterwards, because of the help we received from our friend at the actual U.S. Chamber of Commerce, it received a ton of media attention and piled on to the pressure that the Chamber was already getting over its opposition to climate legislation. Companies were leaving the Chamber, and perhaps coincidentally, somewhat coincidentally, 2 weeks later, the Chamber actually reversed its position for real and announced they were not opposing this climate legislation. And perhaps the biggest compliment ever we received from Al Gore when he was on the Charlie Rose show, and he said, yeah, the Chamber reversed its position. I don't understand why. It was a big surprise to me. I know it wasn't because of the yes men and that stunt they did, but they changed it. So that was a great compliment to even think that it might have been because of us. Let's see, here's a very small-scale action that we did, or a very local action.
Well, it seemed like a joke
Yes, it did. This was in New York. A group of activists, this was much later, a group of activists wanted to do an action that would highlight the stop and frisk policy. So the New York Police Department systematically stops about 600,000 people a year in poor neighborhoods with lots of people of color and frisks them. And, you know, occasionally finds things, but it's a very small percentage. It's like in the single digits, the percentage of people that they actually find things on, and it's completely unconstitutional, illegal. And that policy has actually been overturned since. And so that's another of the success stories. It wasn't because of this, but this was the first major press, the first mainstream TV press that this got. It was a whole segment. I'll just roll it.
Well, it seemed like a joke from the start. If you are stopped and frisked 3 times by the NYPD, you get a free Happy Meal. Well, it was a fake, but the ad and the website where it came from spread quickly online and had some believing it was true. Eyewitness News reporter Kristen Thorne shows us what happened and who was behind it.
That's why we're excited to introduce our new 3 Strikes, You're In initiative. While the NYPD can't stop using stop and frisk, McDonald's can help police reward law-abiding citizens.
McDonald's and the NYPD teaming up to get guns and drugs off the streets seems strange. Well, it should. It's part of a spoof website called 3strikesyou'rein.org.
Every time you are stopped, frisked, and released, simply fill out your name, ethnicity, date and time of stop, and the officer's badge number. After 3 stops, you're in. Bring your completed voucher to your nearest McDonald's and exchange it for a free Happy Meal.
People talk about broken window policing, but we'd like them to think about issues like what happens in a young person's mind when they know that when they leave the house, they're targeted.
Jerry Goralnik and Diva Durant created the site. They're with a local activist group called People Enraged by Racial Policing. The NYPD stops and frisks some 600,000 people every year. Critics say it encourages racial profiling. The department says it's a vital way to reduce violent crime.
We wanted to make the connection between race and bias-based policing.
What's disturbing is their satire could actually be taken as real. Goralnik and Durant put it to the test, sending one of their own into a local McDonald's with one of the fake vouchers.
You get stopped more than 3 times by a police officer, you get a free Happy Meal.
The manager looks at the voucher, ponders it for a second, and then puts in the order. We reached out to the NYPD about all this, but they didn't get back to us. A spokeswoman for McDonald's says she's glad we realized this entire thing is just made up. As for the site, 3 Strikes You're In, it was taken down within hours of being posted because of a copyright infringement. In Sunnyside, Queens, Kristen Thorne, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
So this was, this
is News 4.
Yes. That came about through in a collaboration with community activists who wanted to do something about this, and we brainstormed, came up with this really sick idea. They just thought, no way, we can't do this. This is too tacky. And we said, well, it's such a good idea. Go talk to people. And they went and talked to people in those neighborhoods who loved it. And we helped them carry it out by connecting them on our mailing list to the videographer who put this together. We helped them with the press release sending and so on. So it's basically the way the Action Switchboard will work. People will come to the site with an idea. We'll help them craft it into something and release it. And there's another action I'd like to show that is a different kind of action. So this is a little piece of media that the farmer in Ontario produced. He's a goat farmer, and it's sort of self-explanatory, so I'll just play it.
TransCanada is planning another pipeline, this time to send tar sands crud to the east coast, and they are employing a new tactic to silence opposition. Instead of holding a town hall which would allow citizens to see how many others are concerned, they have a trade show format where an army of TransCanada reps can limit questions and conversations to a one-on-one level. The result? Folks don't get to see how widespread the opposition is in their own community. So when TransCanada came to our town to promote their pipeline, we made handouts and outfits nearly identical to TransCanada's own, but branded instead as Save Canada. We hit the floor to work at their event, and it really worked. Attendees had a choice. They could ask their questions to the uneasy-looking people in navy shirts, but instead they chose to share their concerns with us, the helpful, happy people in navy shirts. Instead of listening to TransCanada's scripted spin, everyone was talking about the risks. Connections were made, people were empowered, and a town once paralyzed by the unstomachable obstacle of a heavily backed tar sands catastrophe had now blossomed into a powerful and mobilized community. Now it's spreading. Concerned citizens from all over are joining Save Canada. You too are invited to join us, to dress up as them, to reach more of everyone, to help stop this thing, because this thing threatens everybody, everything, everything, me and you. Join us. Save Canada.
So that was the recruitment video, and there were about 10 additional events that TransCanada had planned along the route to convince communities to approve it, and each of them was kind of scuttled in this way. So this was it's another potential thing that we're building into the action switchboard, is the ability to do these distributed actions where there's a single idea and it can happen in a bunch of areas and you can reach a lot of people that way. So
Cool. That's awesome.
yeah, all this these actions we did manually, we did ourselves with our mailing list, but the idea of the action switchboard is we'll have a staff of people who can do it and do a lot more than we
Wow.
can.
We're a staff of people that are managing.
Yeah,
Wow.
facilitators who know how these actions work.
Wow.
You know, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
It's like anybody can do it, but
Yeah.
just sometimes you might need a little bit of advice,
Cool.
a little bit of reassurance that you're not going to get arrested, you're not going to get sued probably,
Right.
and if you do, no big deal, or well, big deal, but there's ways to deal with it. You can get pro bono help. And how to make media around it especially. Those are the main stumbling blocks where people, they need to know it can happen, they might need to know a bit about crafting press releases, and they need to know about documenting
Right.
and making videos. So that's one of the main ways we've helped, is helping people make little videos.
Got it. Cool.
And our film is completely different. It's like, following us as a personal story, it's a film, but these are the little bits of media that kind of are the activism.
Great.